How's it going, guys? Sitting out in the garage for a few minutes. I gotta look up that number. 4781-2 is what it is. Okay, but I'm reading it through the camera screen, but it's not even focused in. There you go, now I can read it. 4781-2. Basically what that is that's a carburetor number. I got a friend working on a carburetor that he bought used, and it's wreaking all sorts of havoc. And 4781 should be an 850. Let's see if we can find the number. Did I say 4781? I don't even remember now. 4781, there it is. Good. That's a good start. It's a good start that we have information on it. We're 47. I hope it's focusing. I should have grabbed the other camera. I apologize. But 4781, 4781-1-2. It's a double pumper. It's an 850. Okay. Primary needle and seat. There's your trick kit, your renew kit. Okay. Primary main jet. It has 80s in the front and 80s in the back. That's where the problem started. Okay, meter and block. That I want to confirm. I don't know if these meter and blocks. Yep, and the discharge nozzles are wrong. Everything's wrong on this carburetor. Holy Christmas. Okay, I'll explain in a second, but I gotta write these numbers down. You see the dash 1, 2, and 3. Here's the dash 1. Can you guys read the number? I'm sure you can. I'm trying to keep it out of the blurry spot. Dash 2, dash 3, dash 4 uses the same one. Okay, but if you notice, as soon as you get to a dash 3, it's 80s in the front, 78s in the rear. Okay. Primary squirter, 31. Primary squirter, 31. He's got 28 in there. It's up 2. Okay. Gasket. Fuel bowl. Throttle body and shaft. So it's a 1 9/16, 1 9/16, 1 3/4, 1 3/4. Okay. So now the question is going to be, how much does it flow? Okay, the carburetor I had before was an 850, but it flowed 950. Yeah, we see 800 right above it. It's much smaller. I got a feeling this flows 950. I'm going to have to look that up and confirm. But right off the bat, well, let me confirm, see what he's got first, and then we'll talk about this. Maybe we'll all learn something together. Okay, let's go through this real quick. I'll tell you what we got. I'll tell you what some of our problems are. Okay, he has the... What did we say he had? I forgot already. He has the 4781-2, 4150, 850. It's a 950. Okay, flows 950. There's one of the backwards carburetors. Okay, let's get past all this. The primary jets, they're looking for an 80. The secondary jets, they're looking for an 80. He has 81s in the front and 90s in the rear. Okay. For the primary discharge nozzle, the squirters, they want the 31,000s in the front and the 31,000s in the back. Okay, he's got double 28s. Okay, he has a 30cc accelerator pump in the front and a 50 in the back, which is the way I've looked it up. It's only a 2-corner idle circuit, which I've also found on these, so there's nothing wrong there. 1 9/16, 1 9/16. It's like a square carburetor. 1 3/4, 1 3/4. The 950, these are 1.5, 1.5, 1/11/16, 1/11/16, clearly backwards. That's what people talk about. So the original 850s that you bought flowed 950. The original 950s flowed 850, so it's a 950 CFM carburetor. Now here's the problem. He bought it used. It's definitely an old school carburetor. It's got flathead screws on the balls. Bought it from, I don't know if he knew the guy. I don't think he knew the guy. It didn't sound like it. And it's on a boat. And on a boat, you're not always idle and nailed. So he brought the carburetor in today because he's having drivability problems. Okay. Off idle is fine. When you give it a little bit more and the secondary start to open, it actually bogs down. When you pull back on the throttle, the RPMs increase. When you give it more, you know what I mean? When you ease into it, the RPMs actually go down. Okay? Wide open throttle, he's had the thing at, I think at this point, 91 miles an hour. So the boat's a screamer. Okay, it's a big block. But here's the deal. He brought the carburetor in, I popped it open. I didn't know what jet size belonged in there. I knew they weren't right. I mean, 90s. You can almost stick your finger through a 90. But I noticed right away that the secondary side, they blocked off the power valve. Okay, so that's why the 90s instead of 80s, you block off the power valve. You go up between 8 and 10 sizes. Okay, to compensate. And the primary power valve was a 3.5 instead of a 6.5, which means normally when you're accelerating, the engine vacuum goes down, obviously. When you get below 6.5 inches of vacuum in your engine, the power valve starts to open to the rich in it. So you're using your main jets and the power valve. And obviously from there down it stays open. When you put a 3.5 in there, instead of it coming open at 6.5, you got to wait more and more and more and more. Okay? Now, some of the things that people did, there are benefits to it, but for his application, it's actually counterproductive or counteracting what he really needs done. That's for all-out drag racing. By taking out the rear power valve and putting the jets in there, in drag racing, you go from pretty much idle, or you bring it up into a stall, and then you go. Okay? And by doing it the way they're doing it, it actually bypasses one of the circuits of the carburetor, and you're just flowing fuel through. But you lose anything in between. Anything in between is too rich. So as you're giving it more gas, and the secondary start to open, instead of the fuel coming through the jet, and a number 80, which isn't 80 thousandths, but a number 80, okay? And then you give it more and more and more fuel, or more and more load, then all of a sudden it drops below 6.5 and you get the additional. As soon as the secondary is open, it's coming through a 90. So it's like, as soon as the secondary is open, it's like having a ruptured power valve and it's wide open. So you're putting too much fuel into the engine. Okay, plus he's fighting some acceleration problems. And I said to him, let's put the carburetor back to the way it came. And he looked up online real quick to see what the jets were supposed to be, which was 80/80, which is what my book confirms. But he couldn't find anything on the squirters or any of the other problems. And I didn't know if the metering blocks were changed. Now I have numbers to compare them to. So basically what's going to happen is he's going to throw 80s in the front, 80s in the rear. And he's putting two 6.5 power valves in there. So, and we talked about adjusting the rear blades. Instead of putting everything into the primary circuit, because you got the primary blade so far open that you're no longer in the idle circuit, you're in a transition slot, so the mixture screws are useless. Obviously the motor isn't stock when you're hitting those type of speeds in a boat. So with that said, I'm going to send him a message right now. Okay, I don't know if he's out there working on it. I'm going to send them a message right now and give them these numbers, because by doing it that way I won't forget the numbers either. And I'll tell him the information on what he has to pick up. And hopefully it's on his way. If any other problems with the carburetor, that just means something's dirty. So I looked at the carburetor. The carburetor was definitely a nice piece. It wasn't like out in the weather. So, like I said, when in doubt, bring it all back. That's why you never drill or alter anything. And if you do it one circuit at a time, one thing at a time. So you can always go back and always remember what you did. And we'll get it going again. Like I said, it's a totally different carburetor than one of the ones I have sitting in the house. But the one I have is still a 950 also. And that one's got a double 50cc accelerator pump. It's a little bit more of a beast. There are different part numbers if you go down. Like I just looked up an 850 that had 96 jets. But clearly when you open up that carburetor, it's not going to have a power valve in the back. So, depending on what part number you buy is what the application's actually for. People are just used to buying generic, like the 4778, a generic 700, which is just a basic double pumper. It's when you get into more, they have a lot of part numbers you never see in the magazines. That's what all these other ones are, the ones you don't recognize. That's why they list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right off the bat, 5 800s right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 850s, a couple of 830s. That's what I thought he had originally. I figured he had an 830. And according to this, the 830 is still 80. And the bore size is down to the original 850 size. So a lot of that difference in the 20 CFM could be the the booster vent cherries. Okay, well that's it. Let me text this stuff and see if we get this beast going.